Hi, good morning. My name is Charlie. I'm going to go over setting up a voice AI bot that can go ahead and answer your phone, direct your calls, and basically be a 24/7 salesperson that you can program on your own. So I'm going to give a quick tour. I did my very first one and I made mistakes. All right. And part of this whole process is figuring out the system. So actually, Jessica's my second one. And don't ask me why I chose Jessica for the name because I really don't know. All right. So I'm just going to go through a quick scan. There's four tabs at the very top up here when you're creating an agent. We are going to give it a name, what language it's going to speak. And they actually have agents here that I was really surprised. They're multilingual. So you can go ahead and put your information here in English, but then they can also communicate in Spanish. Now, I have not tried that. All right. So, and I am going to try that, but I'm so high on getting this thing working right now that I want to get it going. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that it's programmed so I trust it answering my phones. So for this Jessica here, I'm going to keep that as English only. Then we're here in Chicago, so we put our time, our business name. I didn't put the formal business name up there, which would be the comma, Inc., all that, just because she's going to be saying this. And I just don't think it's normal communication. Somebody says, well, the name of our business is Chicagoland Home Inspectors, Inc. Everybody calls us by Chicagoland Home Inspectors. They do have a ton of voices on here that you could choose from. I just listened to somebody who didn't annoy me, to be honest with you. And she spoke clear, she spoke fast, she got to the point, so I kind of like to leave it on Jessica there. And obviously, that's the name of the AI bot that's on there. So I'm not very original, I guess. All right. Then it comes in there. What do you want it to do? The system, it's not ready to go yet, but it will be. Or no, I think you can do this. So the system can actually do outbound calls, so cold calling if you want to do that. And that does get a little bit pricey, when you want to do it, just because there's always going to be a telephone communication charge, even though it's like a fraction of a penny a minute. You start going for thousands of minutes, well, then yeah, that bill's going to start running up there. And then the first thing, we keep it only on the inbound calls. And then um, the first thing is we type in the message that we want her to say when she answers the phone. And I'm going to go ahead and dial that phone number in a moment just so that we can see what it sounds like. But my goal with this thing, because I don't want people to be on the phone call having a big, long conversation with the AI. My goal is to get the information to the client as fast as possible. And that's what I believe that our whole purpose is. When somebody's calling me looking for appointments, I hear a lot of other home inspectors say, well, they just wanted price and they didn't want this and they didn't want that. That's not really true. All right. They really want as much information as they can get and they want it now. Our society is strictly that way. So for me, I want to make sure that I get my complete why choose me information in front of in front of the home buyer as fast as we can. So that's kind of the first page on there. Now it does have a button up here for advanced settings. There's going to be this button again on the other tabs. But when we're at the agent detail tabs and we put it up there, that's just going to give us our time limit. All right. And if you don't get the unlimited AI, you are going to be paying, basically per minute that comes on there. So if you do go ahead and purchase all the unlimited stuff and you get the whole suite, I believe that's $129 a month. Obviously, prices can always change when it comes to this, but at least that way you're not going to be paying for the AI. So it depends on how much you're going to use. I keep it at 5 minutes. I do keep it faster than what they had normal, so I do want her to talk quickly. And then if somebody doesn't say anything in 8 seconds, she's going to go back and prompt them to communicate again. Now, this is one of the first mistakes that I made. When you start creating a bot, and we will create a new bot, it's going to be in basic mode at first. And then if you want to go into the advanced mode, then you're going to have to make the change when you're creating the bot. Because once you save the bot, you can't go back. And you can see how that's lit up here. Mode cannot be switched. Once agent is created, this agent was already created. So I can't go back to basic mode. Basic mode is going to be kind of simple. It's more of a, a secretary or a receptionist. They answer the call and then they're going to transfer the call to somebody else. So we keep it, simple as that. Whereas the advanced mode, now we can start going into putting our prompts and tell it what we want to say. And I'm copying mine, and I'm always going to be changing this information. But I'm going to copy mine and make it public so that if anybody wants to get a starting point, per se, you're more than welcome to. But I am going to go ahead and keep changing these things as we go along. All right. One other thing that we have up here is a knowledge base on there. And I guess I should have backed up a little bit. If you look on the left-hand side, you could see under settings, the voice AI agent is chosen. That's what we're working on now. 2 slots above that is the conversation AI. The conversation AI is included in the suite that comes in there. And again, you could pay per message or whatever per minute on it if you don't get the unlimited plan. But that's for texting. So if you're going to put a text widget in there, or you want to do text messages back and forth automatically, we can do that. And then the second part here, and this I got to say I really like, is the knowledge base section. So the knowledge base is where we put all the information that the bot is going to get their answers from. But what's cool about this is that I can use the same knowledge base for my voice AI as my text AI or my conversation AI. So whatever message one is giving, the other one's going to maintain that message. Now, in my business and what I choose to do, I like to convert all these calls into text messaging and keep everything in writing. All right. It just works the best for me. All right. And you're going to have to do what's best for you when it comes to this stuff. And I do have a couple people listening in here. If you guys want to chime in and ask questions, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep giving a tour on this thing.
One question for you there, Charlie.
Yeah, shoot.
You made the comment there about you like everything kept in the written format.
Mm-hmm.
While the bot is answering that call, is there anywhere that you can see a live feed that is being transcribed?
That I really don't know. I know that I get an email and a message on here. So, like if I go to dashboard and logs, this was one that I just tested this morning that comes in there. So I can go ahead and view the transcript and see what we said and how much time was on there. So that's there. But live, I really don't know. All right.
The main reason I'm asking that is if it's not live, somewhere in here will define how fast that you actually get that. I mean, as the phone hangs up, the message is sent to you. The reason I'm asking that is I'm wanting this thing to gather the data,
Mm-hmm.
and then Natalie receives a text or an email, preferably, that says, "Hey, this has just happened, and it's being forwarded to you as we speak," for example.
Absolutely. So, and that part there, I'm going to scroll down to the lower part, and this is only in the advanced sections, right? So you can have things happen during the call, and then you can have things happen after the call. All right.
Okay.
So one of my priorities that I have on my bot is I want the name, email, and phone number. That's it. All right. Um, Again, I'm in sales mode right now. I don't have a client, right? So I want to get this client. So I really don't want to be so annoying when it comes to something. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean that to be rude. But you know, again, I'm going to go back to anybody that I found in my society, in my neighborhood, that wants to hire a home inspector. They want as much information as they can today, right here, right now, so they can make that decision. So all the information I'm sending them is going to be focused on why choose me. All right. But after that's done, you can trigger workflows, emails, text messages, whatever you want to do to your users and so forth. And if the bot can't answer a question, or maybe the person wants to actually talk to a live human being, that's one of the features that we could do. We could transfer the call. So if somebody wants to place an order with our VA, well, then they just have to ask for it. And once the bot recognizes that they asked for that, they're going to forward them off to it's run through Lead Connector, and each person does have to have a phone number that's in our system. And then they would answer it through Lead Connector, but it would ring right on the app on your phone. Or if they're going to be like our VAs are in front of the computers and they answer their phones that way, then the message is going to go to their computers. So they would talk to them in front. But for me, I'm usually not in front of the computer, or I don't want anything popping up on it if I'm working with the client. So I have all my calls go to my cell phone or to the app that comes in.
If I can make one comment
Yeah.
there to the quality of what they're able to do, when I interfaced with it the other day when you prompted me for that,
Yeah.
I'm driving down the road, so the noise in the background, my truck, everything else is already there. So you know you got that noise on the line. Interfacing, I intentionally gave it my email address. Very quick, mike.p@aahomeinspection.com. It didn't ask me to repeat it, but I asked it to repeat it to me later in the conversation, and it came back perfect. So that's what my desire is right there, is I want the items that we screw up on a regular basis. I want those captured.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm the same situation like that, but I kind of like the idea of asking permission to repeat it back. I don't want to take the chance of something being wrong. So I know that, and I'm going to write that down actually, because always verify name and address and email and phone. So, uh,
But the accuracy is what I was just blown away with. So that's a
yeah,
good
I
thing.
am too, and they're it's every week I get a release that they're upgrading this, so it's more intelligent, it's faster. The coders that they have that are behind everything are just they're amazing. All right, that's all there is to it. And their weakness would end up being that they really want to roll out so many new things so fast that some things aren't really ready to be rolled out, and they put those in the laboratories. But I think as long as you want to try them and use them, that's and you understand that they're not perfect yet, I think that's good. But I agree with you, and it was our conversation last week that made me look into this. And then I started, just putzing around with it. And I'm like, same thing. This is actually pretty impressive. All right. So now I focused on getting everything working for me. So um back to work here. Let's
Sorry
see.
for
No,
segueing.
no, no. This is all good stuff. And to get it out there. So my main goal, like I said, is to either convert the conversation over to texting, or to um, get all my information in front of the client as soon as possible. All right. I don't have any after the call, work things set up in here. I only have during the call it comes in there. So whenever we send an email, if that's what the client wants, then that's what this thing is here. Um, I'm having a little bit of a glitch. I know it's my fault somewhere, but I don't have the email being sent right now. It sends when I test it, but it doesn't send, from when I do the bot. So when I'm verbally testing it. So I got to figure out why the automation works under one situation, but not the other. But I'll get it. And the texting, I got it to work. So that's doing fine. But again, I like the email because that just gives me a longer message and it gets more information in there. So new actions here. So I could transfer the call and I actually need a phone number. So if you're going to transfer the call and you want to do it to a cell number, it will do that with no problem. All right. We got 15 people here and guys leave, and this is going to sound horrible of me because I do trust these guys. All right. But now I'm going to bring all the conversations into our system here because if these guys leave, well, I have all the messages, I have all the phone numbers, I have all the contacts. This is my business and my family relies on this business. So please don't judge me that I want to protect this business. And sometimes people want to leave and then they want to start, using whatever information they have on their cell phones. If I could take it off the cell phone and keep it on our system, then I am in full control. All right. So the second thing is trigger a workflow. When it comes to the automation and the workflows on here, there's a ton of them. All right. So we can do everything from sending emails, sending text. We could send them scheduling links, to other softwares. It's heck, we could put them in classes and learning environments. It's unlimited to whatever workflow that we're going to be. So send SMS, that's self-explanatory. I and that's what this one is here. So that explains now. I just realized that's why it works because it's not working in the automation. Something's not triggering there because the SMS does work, but the SMS is not in an automation. That is right here. So that's a little bit different. Um, if somebody says that, hey, you got my address wrong or my name is spelled wrong, and they call back, it'll recognize who's calling and it'll go ahead and update their confirmation system in your contact management system. If you use our calendar, for your scheduling, and that's part of the base fee is you get a calendar system as well. If you use that, then the bot can actually look at your calendar, see what's visible, and book the appointment, and get everything else in there. Now they haven't, they do have some coding in there in case we want to hire people to do stuff. But again, this is something new when they add on there. All right. And then if you want to have something that's automatically triggered on each and every phone call that comes in here. So, Mike, I think you mentioned earlier you want Natalie to receive this transcript and know what's going on. As soon as it's done, boom, it'll go straight to her, whether it's through the Lead Connector app or you have it texted to her, and we just set up a workflow to make that happen. All right. So right now I just have it sending an email to all the admins. And so every time there's a phone call, I end up getting an email. I can go ahead and see the transcript. I can listen to the recording. And all of this is just so I can make corrections as things go along. All right. The next tab up top is going to be the phone and the availability. Let's click on that. Let's see, what am I doing wrong here? No, I must have bumped on, oh, please select the window. That's what it is. It's waiting for me to do something. Now it'll work. All right, sorry about that. Phone and availability. And again, I didn't opt in for the full-blown paid out, but I am going to. All right. And yeah, even though, believe it or not, I'm the owner of this thing, I still have to pay for my own business. All right. So it's all part of it. I did start buying extra phone numbers. So I turned this bot now will answer at 224-455. I'm sorry, 224-553-2900. So if, and I hope you write that down. Again, it's 224-553-2900. Um, that's the number to get this bot to go ahead and start working. All right. This feature I kind of like a lot too. And I get it. It's one of the hardest things I did was stop answering the phone. It was just so natural for me to always want to answer the phone. And once I stopped it, it was difficult, but man, was I happy I did it. But for those of you that just want this backup so that you can go ahead and, set it up so that, if I don't answer the phone, then this thing will take it. So it'll ring your phone or a bunch of people's phones. It'll give them a few seconds, to go ahead and answer, and then the voice AI will pick up from there. And then you can have different AIs for different times of the day. I kind of like that. I mean, right now everything is 24/7 because I only have the one bot, but maybe I don't want to forward calls at 2 o'clock in the morning to somebody's cell phone. All right. So we could have a bot that turns on at, I don't know, let's say 7 o'clock at night, and that bot will not, forward calls or do any of the other stuff. It'll still send out text because you figure if somebody's awake at calling you, well, then they're awake to take an email and a text. Yeah, shoot, Mike.
Can these bots be cloned? In other words, we've got bot one, bot two, bot three, bot four. They're all the same with the caveat of what you're describing.
Yeah, in a nutshell, yeah.
Can they be shut off after the phone call? Say you shut this off at 8 p.m., but it's on a phone call. Can it be shut off like after it ends the phone call if that call goes past 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Now you're going to make me test that, and I will get the answer to it because it's a good question, and I don't know. I really doubt it. I think once the process starts, that it's going to continue to the end. And again, I have my bot set for 5 minutes max, and the maximum that you could let it run for is 15 minutes. So that window is kind of tight, is what I'm saying. So if I had it turned off at 7, that means, and I had it 15 minutes or whatever, then 10 to it might get shut off. But I don't think that would happen. But I am going to test it now. So let me write that down.
I like the idea of the multiple bots.
Yeah.
Main reason being is you're calling us at 1 a.m. in the morning. Typically, they're not looking for an inspection. They're calling to give you some other piece of information at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
However, then you can address it. This is whatever bot, I don't know what we're calling it, interactive voicemail. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. This is our after hours system. Please leave why are you calling? And then you can go into it, but you can also allow it to say, this is after hours. So you're not expecting a live body to call you back in the next 15 minutes. So yeah, I see a lot of benefit in being able to have multiple ones, particularly if they all work out of the same and you can clone and edit just the way that they perform at the
Yeah.
times. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not that hard to do. You can make as many as you want and set them up on different phone numbers too. I mean, each one of your inspectors can have their own private secretary if you want. So when somebody calls them, you can have the AI bot answer and it says, Charlie's a little bit busy right now. Is there something I can help you quick? Yeah, I got this, this, and this. And if you want it to be a technical stuff, we could put all of our, code books, home reference books, the national, the home inspector exam stuff. We could put all that text in there and let it answer anything else. And if they say, hey, if this isn't good enough, I could send you over to Charlie, or if it's personal. I mean, there's options, and you got to figure out what's best for you. That's
You
all.
hit on that one though. I never thought about it being an individual bot per the inspector, for example,
Yeah,
and we'll forward this information to Darren.
yeah,
Wonderful. But yet you also said something there that and I'm going to reference the ASHI standards of practice. It's the one most people know. It's not state specific at the moment, but um, that would be an excellent resource to put that into the database, the learning center, however, I forget what the term is there. But
Knowledge
yet, so
base.
many people ask, what is a home inspection? And have you listened to the struggles that people have on giving that answer? So you could basically program it with that one paragraph statement that's clean and concise using the standard of practice to give it that, as well, yes, they will walk the roofs and however you want it to be trained at that point. That's pretty phenomenal, actually.
I think so too. And I'm going to get into the knowledge base in a little bit, but you can even go more granular than that. If there's a specific question and you would have a specific way to say it, we just set it up in frequently asked questions, and I'll show you that in the knowledge base in a second. And it will answer exactly what you want it to say, which is pretty cool. So going back here, phone and availability, I keep everything turned off on both of these because I want the bot to take over when the call rings, and I want it to work 24/7. But I got a feeling that after I get this one working the way I want, I'm going to clone it and then change it to be a little bit different and have it work at different hours and so forth. So I like that idea a lot. And then the dashboard and the logs. Obviously, I just messed with this one. I turned it on, this morning, and I gave it a shot. Look at this. I was at 5:58 this morning. I'm playing with my bot. It's way too early in the morning to go ahead
What
and do
hour was that, Charles?
5:58 this morning. So 6 o'clock this morning, 7 o'clock your time. All right. So I'm going to just skip up. I don't really want to go too much into the conversation AI, but again, this thing can respond to your Instagram, your Facebook messages for your business. Let's see if we could just pop this open real quick. And yeah, there it is. So our text messages, chat widget, if they're doing the live chat, which is pretty much the chat widget that comes on there. If you turn on the WhatsApp on that stuff, that'll be there. Facebook, Instagram, and I know there's more, or maybe nope, I got them all right there. So and they're going to be adding more channels as it goes. All right. Um, I don't like this wait time stuff. To me, I don't want to disguise the bot. I want people to know that it's, automated, and oh, here's the pricing for this particular one. And again, if you opt in for free, it's free, but it's 2 cents for every message it sends out. All right. So it can add up. That's the only thing. So we go to the bot training. I'm going to skip on these things. There's our knowledge base again. And then you can always set up your brand voice, what it's going to be, your business, give it its goals, and then any other additional instructions as well. All right. This section here was supposed to be designed on the voice, so I really don't want to go too much into that one. But we do need to talk about the knowledge base because the voice AI bot does use the knowledge base to get there. So this again is under settings and then knowledge base over on the left-hand side. And then you can create as many of these as you want as well. So right now they have 2 out of the 3 functions available. They're still building the upload files portion. So they have the web crawler and frequently asked questions, right? So basically, whatever question you hear somebody say that you want the bot to give a certain answer to. And again, remember, they're in sales mode, right? So everything is supposed to be to convince them why you're the best choice. And so here you have discounts. Yeah, we do have a discount. It's $50. We call it our photo upload discount. We give it to everybody, and let her go ahead and explain all that stuff, and then what do your reports look like? We give them a quick description, and then, I want the bot to send them a text and with a link in that text so they could view sample reports. Again, I want to get as much of my information into the client's hands as possible. All right. And I think I got too many on here because some of the tests that I do, I don't really quite get the answer that I wanted to get. All right. Now, the last one is going to be uploaded files, and they don't have that turned on yet. But again, I would give them no more than a month, and I would expect that to be working. But the more I've been messing with this, the more I'm realizing that if I want to make changes to anything that this bot is going to know or learn, I don't want to have 20 or 30 different sources. All right. I want to go and make changes at one location. So what I think I'm going to do is the web crawler page here. Like right now, I just had it search two of my websites. I try to put an actual document up in my Google Drive and give it that link and see if it can learn from the text that's on there. But it does need to be HTML content. All right. And so because that was more of a Google document form and a text form, it couldn't read it. So learn something there. So what I started doing was creating a brand new web page. All right. And I'm liking this. All right. Because if I put everything on one web page, now I have one location that I can go ahead and edit this information. So if I don't like the person saying, that we're going to only do one inspection, maybe I change my mind and now we're going to do two inspections in a day. All right. Then I could go ahead to one location, change that, and I'm kind of done. And I'm not going to advertise this page. This is strictly going to be for my voice AI bot to learn from. So nobody else is really going to have access to this. So I don't really care what it looks like. I'm just going to leave this as a straight text because it's the wording that the AI is going to get and learn from so that they can go ahead and make the answers. All right. And I've just taken everything that I had with all the other links in there and I put it up here. Right now it's a mess and I'm trying to re-edit everything. And then that's why the top section is more of a paragraph where everything else is a little, kitty wampus when it comes in there. So and that's it. I mean, and I wouldn't mind, right now starting at, we'll go back here to the voice agent and we'll just create a new agent, and we'll see how fast we could do it, So my agent name, we'll call this one Charlie. That way I know to get rid of it. Business name is still the same. Let's go ahead and give it Declan. All right. And we'll go from there. Time zone is good. This is going to be for inbound calls. How can I help you? I think I'm good with that. We hit let's see, advanced setting is time. And I just want to see how fast it goes when I hit fast. So I'm curious. And let's hit confirm. And I'm actually, while that's doing that, I'm going to save and publish this page. And I'm going to use this page as learning in a knowledge base. All right, where are you? There you are, you're done. All right, we go to the next. And I guess I got to go back and create a new knowledge base real quick. All right. And then we'll do the web crawler. We'll add a source, web crawler, exact URL, paste it in there, and extract the data. And it's actually pretty quick. You can see that it's up here working now. It's grabbing the text that's on the page. And it's going to end up making a text document here that we can go ahead and edit as well. So I guess you don't have to edit the website. You could go back in here and edit all that same stuff, but it's everything that I put. Um, yeah, it's everything that I ended up putting on that web page, so
So like that web page would not be a mapped web page. That's something that just lingers in the background.
exactly. Yeah. And it's more just to have a location that comes in there. All right. So then we got that knowledge base. We called it sample. Let's go back to our bot. And then I don't know, do you want to see the basic? Because I showed you the advanced. Do you want to see? Because I don't, it's up to you.
I'll be going advanced.
All right, then let's just do it. All right, so we switch over to advanced. And again, you got to do it now. Otherwise, you kind of have to go back. And it's not a lot to go back and redo those steps. You could see it wasn't there. Now, they're going to give you some information. This is all pre-written already. And the best thing to do is read this and edit it where you want. But you want to keep these sections the same. And then they do have a prompt guideline that's part of their samples. So everything that you want to, put in there and coach this AI on what to do, you can go ahead and download those instructions. They're right there in the open. So, all right. So let's go ahead and choose our database. Apparently, I didn't save something. So sample knowledge base, it's there. Let's see if I could refresh it and see if it'll show now. Yeah, and sometimes if you do something before, it's ready to go, you have to refresh the page to bring it in there. All right. So it looks like I had to start over because I didn't save it. Sorry. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Good. All right. Next, knowledge base. Switch to advanced. All right, there it is. Now that we refreshed, we're going to keep all this the same just because I'm being lazy. But this isn't going to be used anyway, so. I want everything instant now as well. All right, so let's go ahead and grab a phone number here. And these are the extra ones that I haven't assigned to any users yet. So we'll give it that one. I'm going to write that down. 224 332 3253 3253. And just for the record, right now when I'm recording this thing, all phone numbers, they're $1.15 a month, but you're still paying a small percentage of a penny for every minute that you use as well. Enable AI as a backup. No, I want it to run 24/7. All right. And then let's go ahead and save it. We didn't do any frequently asked questions or anything else. We just have the one web crawler that comes in there. So I'm going to put my phone on speaker and let's make a phone call. All right. So that's 224 332 3253 and get it on speaker. I'm hoping you guys could hear it ring.
Chicagoland Home Inspector. How can I help you today?
I'm interested in your services. Can you explain why you're the best? Well, that's
We're the best because we focus on thorough and diligent inspections. Using a vet give you a good idea of why we're the top choice. If you're ready to schedule an inspection or have more questions, just let me know.
I would like to schedule an inspection. How do I do that?
Great. You can schedule an inspection by visiting our website or giving us a call at 22433222727. Anything else I can help you with?
No, that's it. Thank you for your time. All right.
Okay.
So that was not, obviously I didn't really program it, but it did turn on, it did work right away. And now let's listen to the one that I have all the other options put in there. 4-553-2900. All right, and speaker. What was unusual with the first one is they usually play this is being recorded. It didn't. Hi, Jessica. Can you send me or can you tell me about your services? I should put the phone down. I think I'm bumping it and it thinks I'm talking. Jessica, can you send me your or tell me about your services? Well, she did not like me. All righty. Let's try one more time.
Hello, you've reached Chicagoland Home Inspectors. My name is Jessica. Are you researching home inspectors?
Yes, I am.
Great, I can help with that. Could I get your name, email, and phone number to send you some information?
Absolutely. My name is Charlie. My last name is Belfontaine. And my email is belfontainec@gmail.com. Would you like me to spell any of that?
No need, I've got it. Thanks, Charlie Belfontaine. And your phone number?
630-327-2700.
Thanks for that, Charlie. I'll send over the information right away. Is there anything else you need help with?
No, there is not. Thank you. I kind of like
You're
it.
welcome, Charlie.
Yeah, I'll turn that off now. And again, to me, everything is about getting the information in the client's hands as fast as possible. So, and that's it on the AI. I don't know if you guys got any questions at all on this, but I'm actually pretty high on getting everything going. And then you did ask me about cloning. I'm not, yeah, there it is. So we can duplicate an AI agent easily, and then you can always edit each one. So that'll save a lot of time. I like that. And this actually cracks me up a little bit. If you got a really cool one, I guess you could sell it to other people. I'm not doing that, so I'm not, it's and stuff like that. I mean, there's extra costs involved in everything else, but once you get to the point where you're just trying to run up a bill, that it doesn't pass my red face test. So I don't know.
No, the simplicity of it when you know what you're doing, as you're comfortable navigating the system, obviously, that's where I'm lousy. So is that part of one of the services that you offer that somebody can actually go through and set this up, or is that something that would be on us?
No, well, yes to both of those questions. All right. So, I mean, honestly, it's always going to be best if you learn how to do this and you do this yourself. All right. Um, but we do have VAs and we do have it set up to where you can purchase their time. We charge per minute. It's basically $30 an hour, so 50 cents a minute. If it takes them 10 minutes to do something, well, that's all you pay for is the 10 minutes. If it takes them 4 hours, then that's what you're going to pay them for. They're going to, they're still learning on some of the new stuff, how long it's going to take. So they're going to give you a rough estimate. And then the when you're inside the settings portion up here, everybody has a wallet that's on there. And there's two ways. So there's going to be let's see here. There's our summary and add to the balance. These are all the different things that I get for free as part of this whole system. So I don't end up paying any extra with it that comes in there. But there's two basically different sections on here. One is going to be for your, it's what they call your wallet. And then the other one is, I forgot what it's called. But there's two areas that we're going to populate with money. So we want people to be buying the time in advance before they hire our VAs. And if they do, then, the VA will log in there for each one. I'm actually going to go to a different client and show you what that looks like on their stuff. So here we are in the billing. Now we go to the wallet, and I don't know why I'm seeing a different thing on here. So yeah, these are all like this call that they got. They lost 2.646 seconds because of carrier fees, and that's from an inbound or an outbound call. This is what I was looking for. So you do want to set this up here with the recharge. And let me go back. Oh, I know why, because it's from an agency view. So we have a different, yeah, let me go ahead and do that. So it's not going to be visible on there to you, but we'll go ahead and pull up my account then. Where's Chicago? There we go. And then I manage me. And then we go to payments. This is what I was looking for. So we are going to have, the ability to debit stuff like that. So we could take it out of the wallet. And if you use our VAs for, let's say, a call center, right? So you want them to pick up the phone at certain hours or certain conditions, we'll do that. We'll schedule for you. We'll do all that stuff. Again, it's 50 cents a minute. There's no monthly or anything else fee that comes in there. And you do have to have money in your wallet. And then our system will time exactly how long they were on the phone call with, all the way down to the second. And we put that in there, and that's what they're going to deduct, from that wallet. Whenever we do any sort of custom work, we're going to have that included in this section. I'm working on them to see if they can create a third section for, like VA work, just like what we're doing. But right now we're going to use the complimentary credits section in there. So when you pay an invoice, we'll add that money into the complimentary credits. Once that gets down to a certain level, you're going to get notified, or the VAs are going to let you notified on what they did. And that does create an itemized list, which is actually pretty cool. All right. And again, when I'm in the agency mode, I just can't see all that stuff. But if we go back here, and we go back into settings and billing, and payments, and forgive me that there's nothing here, but I'm not charging myself to use this stuff, and that's why I don't have receipts. But everything that was on there, any charges that were done, we're going to go ahead and do this. So, and this charge up here, that was add new card, 3DS. Okay, so whenever we put a debit card that bills people, we have to verify that the card is legit. And so that ends up costing $1. It's, there's always a small charge to everything, I guess. So, does that answer your question? I know I bloviated there a little bit. Levy, you have anything?
So you're saying that this also acts as like a call center, because I keep getting calls from like ACC trying to be a call center for me. So this service would also act as a call center as well.
That is correct. Yeah, you have to have the main service, and that's $50 a month or $500 a year. And then you are going to be paying per minute if you use our VAs to schedule appointments for you. My goal is for you to do it through the automation and not pay our VAs. But I get it. There's some people that just do not want to type on a computer. They want to actually talk and tell a human being what to do. And I don't want to take that option away from them. And this sounds pompous, so please just forgive me. I don't want to answer the phone call. I don't want to make those appointments. And I keep myself busy in other methods. So I'd rather do as much as I can automate or let somebody else do it.
Question
The
for you
rest
on
of
there. Oh, go ahead.
the rest of the world's going automated. Why can't we?
I missed the last part. All I heard is why can't we?
Oh, the rest of the world's going automated. I mean, why shouldn't we?
No, yeah, I'm not trying to justify it. That's what I want, So I agree with you. Yeah. Mike?
We get so many calls that are bots calling us.
Yeah.
Is there any way that this thing can be set up that would recognize a bot and just turn it off?
No, but there is another step that we could put on there. So I think I'm gonna do this. When I have the IVR, and I'll go into automations here and show you that. All right, so we go back to the main thing, we go to automation. And then right now, this is my phone tree that I use. So when somebody dials this phone number, that starts everything. And then I have a recording that's played. And, and in that recording, I think I'm going to use this recording and this IVR so that if somebody says, hey, listen, if you're researching home inspectors and you just want to text it to you, let me do it right now to the phone number you're calling from. Make it simple. That's the way it's set up right now. All right. And this works very well for me. And then on the second one, it could be if you'd like to be transferred to one of our agents, press two, and then depending on the time of day, I could see here. So, like if it's during normal business hours, I could send it to Maria. If it's after business hours, I could send it to Jessica. All right. Or, middle of the night, I could send it to another, AI bot. I could, do wherever I want that call to go to. So, and one thing I like about the IVR here is it has 99% eliminated all the robocalls. All right. So they're still going to call, but they can't press one, two, or three. All right. And I want one to be the information to make it easy on my client. And then most of them are all set up to be, two or three. So unless there's an actual human being listening and able to understand and hit the right buttons, and even then, if they're going to a bot, well, that's another thing to recognize it. But to answer your question, I don't believe that there is. All right. And I'm sure at some time in the future they'll come back here. Now, I think it's also important that in the forums and the people that I talk to, there's malicious people out there. All right. And they can go ahead and run these bills up. So we have to do things that go ahead and protect ourselves from it. All right.
I
And
thought the call could only last for 15 minutes tops.
it could, but what happens, because this bot can actually handle like 20 or 50, I really don't know the total amount, but they can have a phone bot, constantly calling it on 50 different times and running and just blah, 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 blah. And then you're just got 20 phone calls that are going continuously. And as soon as they hang up, they call back and they can go ahead and do it. So that's where I think if you start getting attacked when it comes to things, that's when you go into the communications tab up here. And again, this is the phone calls. This is me practicing this morning, and I could hear all this stuff. But we can also set up automation so that if we're being attacked by a certain phone number or a contact up here, and I've caught multiple bots, you'll see multiple times, then we just hit D&D incoming. So that phone can't even dial our number anymore. We won't answer it. We won't do anything. We'll block it. And if this is a client that doesn't want to receive our texts or emails or any drop calls, whatever, we can go ahead and just click on that, and you can build all this automation so that it does it automatically. If somebody calls from a certain number, 5 times in 5 minutes, all right, you're a jerk. I don't care if you're real or not, you're blocked. So there's ways around that.
How many phone calls can it handle like at the same time? Like if you get multiple clients calling?
Yeah, I've heard 20 so far. I haven't really tried it, to push the limit to see how many people can do it. Other people have. And yeah, it's a gigantic internet phone tree. So I really don't know what the maximum is.
Now, one other question for you on you all have the phone numbers built in here.
Yeah.
I need to use those numbers. I've got a ton of other numbers in Go to Connect, I think it is.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to replace those Go to Connect numbers and I can get them pulled from Go to Connect over to this system, is that something you've seen be done successfully?
Not yet. All right. Yeah, not yet. You could port these numbers out, but you can't port them in yet. All right. And like if we go here, add a number pool verified. Yeah. I know they're working on it.
Can
They,
you have your number forwarded to the number
yes,
that you get?
that's
So
how
like your
I
go
do
to
it.
like your go to connect number, you could just have it forwarded to a number on the system.
Absolutely. And that's what I do. All right. So our
Okay.
business numbers we forward into the 2727 number. That's our main working number for the IVR. So
And I just created a knowledge base,
oh
not in the
good.
system, but I went out and used ChatGPT, which is probably not the best one for this, but it scoured our one of our websites just for AI database training is what the document's labeled. And it's sitting over here just and going to town.
I yeah, I mean the way this whole AI thing is evolving so gosh darn quickly. I honestly, and this is not me, trying to be a rah-rah guy. I mean, I really don't know what's going to happen every week. They're constantly adding new features and improving the technology, and they got an army of coders behind these things, that's building it. So it's not like it's one person making changes. I mean, it's I can't keep up. Every single day I get two or three little 1 minute videos about changes that they made in the system. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. And you could even see up here, every time they put something new on there, then that's what it is. So, yeah. Anything else on that?
No, it sounds like a solution to multiple problems. Now just getting everything to map will be my challenge.
Yeah,
So it's I think that with some work, and all of it takes work. Yeah, it's not the hit the button and all of a sudden it's all done. Hallelujah, I'd love that. But for my purposes, I I believe that gleaning the client information right on the very front end and having that email shot over, I think that would be invaluable.
I agree.
The other piece of that is trying to figure out if there's a way to get this into the software I'm currently using, Keystone, if there's a way to pull that information into Keystone. I'm not hung up on that statement by any means.
Yeah,
That's just the next nice item to have. Um,
yeah. So,
so I
and,
think
and
it looks
as
pretty
far as
viable.
that goes, I don't know Keystone right now. I know ISN allows you API access,
Yep,
and if Keystone does,
it does.
then yeah, I'll spend the money to go ahead and build something with them to make it work for you so that this bot can actually schedule and send information to that. As long as they could talk to each other, then the messages can go both ways. But because I use Spectora, Spectora does not allow for APIs and they only do webhooks. So Spectora can only send information to our system. We can't send information back to Spectora. All right. So I got to be honest with you. That's why I'm thinking of switching. And, both of us are fans of Dylan. And yeah, I'm working with them, and I really haven't finished it. I started, but I've been focusing on too many other things, and I know they've been focusing on their mobile app.
Yep.
But if I could start building out these APIs where anybody who joins us, if they have any of those other things, then it would be great. And even with the report writing systems, even if you want to run your business off of here, and I get it, Keystone, ISN are very dynamic. All right. And this thing has its own dynamics as well, which are pretty cool. But there's some things that ISN and Keystone do better than this, and there's some things that this does better than ISN and Keystone.
Now,
So
if there's any way of just getting the data into a draft,
yeah,
not even the scheduled, but draft,
yeah.
that would just
Well,
that'd
that
make my
part is
world a whole
definitely
hell of a lot
doable.
better.
Yeah, that is definitely doable. So
You said
Interesting.
that'll work on ISN as well?
yeah, I know ISN does APIs connections, so we would just have to reach out to them and build it. And I am totally up to building it because it'll benefit more than just one person. So
Interesting. Well, there's
yeah,
went your next hour
yeah, yeah.
or last hour.
We wasted a perfectly good hour. So I am going to go ahead and stop the recording here.